Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher from We Are Film, and today my MacBook Pro broke, so let's get into it. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you should be, this is my Instagram, link down below, make sure to follow me. I posted a picture there of how my MacBook Pro screen was dead, broken, doesn't work anymore, and I wanted to talk about sort of what happened and some good lessons that I can learn and that you can hopefully learn from this. So I've been using a 2017 MacBook Pro as my main workstation for both my production companies for about 2 years now. And it's been really awesome because of course the ability to be able to grab your workstation, bring it with you, and sort of do all that stuff really has been great. But one of the things that's always been in the back of my mind is that the MacBook Pro is something that can easily be broken. I mean, you're moving it constantly, you're shutting it and closing it. Now what happened was definitely my fault, but it seems to be that there was something else maybe going on. So what happened was I was actually working on a thumbnail, so I started to close the laptop and I noticed there was like this little piece of fake fruit thing that we have in our house, and I noticed that I didn't close it all the way, but I was about to close it on top of that. So I noticed that it was going to get stuck in there, so I opened it back up, and it must have just touched enough because it actually cracked, not the MacBook screen, but the MacBook panel underneath. But instantly the entire screen was black. There was these colored bands up down the sides. I mean, you can pretty much still see it's the same, and that was it. The screen is dead. So there was this kind of minute of instant panic, and I'm like, okay, I can just turn it off and see what happens. So I turn off the MacBook Pro, turn it back on, nothing. It still was black screen. So at this point, I'm really panicking because I realized that now there is something really wrong. And then I actually saw the crack in the panel. You can see like a RGB kind of colored, almost like chromatic aberration, along these cracks. But I realized that the screen wasn't cracked. So at this point, I'm in full freak out mode. So actually, Zach recommended I try plugging it into my external monitor and see if it still worked. Thankfully, it did. And I'll get into more about that later. So at this point, it became a decision of what am I going to do? Because here's the thing. Although the MacBook Pro screen is broken and it can still be used as an external monitor, remember, it's a laptop. All of it is connected, meaning if the screen has something wrong with it and is broken, there's a very, very good chance that something else is going to go wrong very, very soon. So I had a couple different options, and of course, if this happened to you, you have these same options. Now, the first one is that, of course, you could always try to bring it back to Apple Store and see if they would fix it for you. Now, if you don't have Apple Care, it's probably going to run you around $1,200. So I knew that I really didn't want to do that because why would I spend $1,200 on a laptop that basically would bring me back to where I was with the laptop? So I didn't want to do that. So I thought next about going through my business insurance that of course I have, and we're going to talk more about that later, but technically the computer still worked. To make a claim would be against the screen only, and that would be still expensive, and it was just one of those situations where I realized that unfortunately I was just going to have to buy a new computer, and of course that's what I had to do. So I wanted to turn this into a learning situation and kind of talk about some of the things that you should think about when you have a video production company and some of the ways that things can possibly go wrong, because they might. So the first thing I want to talk about is being sure that you have backups. And I mean backups of everything. And this isn't just footage or data, but this is also backups of stuff you have. So in my case, I was actually leaving for a business trip 2 days after my laptop broke. I was going to Arkansas, and of course, I had to have a laptop to be able to do some work. So thankfully, I actually owned a smaller second MacBook Pro. It's a 13-inch. It really is like the lowest you can basically have, but it was enough to at least get me through the trip and get some stuff done. So the first thing is you really should have some type of backup computer. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do, of course, because it's hard enough buying one computer, but really you should have some type of backup plan. Maybe it's a family friend's computer or a friend's computer. You should have some other computer that is on standby. Now, of course, if you can have two, that's awesome. Now, although the MacBook Pro screen is broken, it still now has become my backup. So that way, in case my new computer were to break or something were to go wrong, I still have that tucked away just in case. Now, of course, that brings us to backing up your data. You should always have your data backed up, and of course, you should always back your computer up. Not just the data on it, but the actual computer itself. So of course, with DaVinci Resolve, a lot of the projects are stored on the computer C drive. So in my case, I was totally fine. Now granted, I could still access my computer, so it wasn't a big deal. But if you couldn't, and all your files were gone, if you have a backup, you're safe. So if you're on Mac using something like Time Machine, is really safe. Just make sure you have a backup of your entire computer. I also store a lot of my documents on the cloud, so that made it really simple because I didn't have to worry about my documents being lost or something like that. But again, if I had it backed up, you're fine. So the next thing that this brings me to is business insurance. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't have to use it, but again, if this was something where my camera were to break or something like that, and it was really like broken, it could not be fixed, or it would be way too expensive to upgrade or something I wasn't ready for, that's when business insurance can step in. Now, I use Hiscox, which is actually a form of Geico. It's like a branch of Geico, but of course you can use any business insurance. And there's things like general liability and error and emissions insurance, which you need anyway, typically if you're a business. But the best part is they also cover your equipment, so that way you have enough, where if something were to go wrong, you make sure that you're covered and you're safe. So those are two huge tips, because remember, you are a business. You need to keep working. Unfortunately, even though this happens, everything still goes on. Businesses still need their edits. Unfortunately, you can't just say, hey guys, sorry, I gotta stop for a couple of weeks. So in light of all that, I did actually buy some new equipment, so thankfully I have some new stuff in the studio here that I can talk about. So if you've noticed behind me, I bought the 2019 iMac, the one that I actually referenced in a video just a few weeks back that I was thinking about getting, and I did get that model. So if there's any videos specifically about the iMac 2019 that you want to see, let me know down in the comments below. I also bought a massive hard drive and I ended up returning it, and I'm getting another one, so once that new one comes in, I'll do a video, and I'll probably do a video talking about the older one. Also, one of the other things that I got in that I'm very, very excited about, and I love, spoiler, is a new Manfrotto tripod system, and it's actually one of the nitrogen heads, nitro or nitrogen, something like that. I don't know. It is awesome. So I want to talk about that in a video. It was on a great deal on B&H, and I got it for about half off. So I am going to update all of my kit pages, so be sure to check out that link down below if you want to see all the stuff that I'm using. But again, those videos are coming soon. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.